Hello and welcome to the Outside the Cockpit Austrian Grand Prix pre-race preview. My name is Sam Dunzig. I'm joined by Ming Truong. How's it going today, Ming?
It's a lovely morning. It's a bit sunny. It's ready for the storm. Also ready for the race week too. It's excited. I only watched like a few bits of the first few practices. I'm gonna watch the highlights again, but hopefully it'll be an awesome race. It's the Austrian Grand Prix. It's probably always better than the Styrian Grand Prix. It's been underwhelming last year, and hopefully it's gonna be an exciting race week.
Yeah, definitely. Compared to when you look back at 2020, the Austrian Grand Prix, we saw Lando Norris got his debut podium, which was always exciting to see. So we might see him on the podium. We might see Sebastian Vettel, Lance Stroll, who knows. But yeah, just kind of like, let's just start talking about the Max versus Lewis round 9. I just thought it'd be, a good topic to. So right now, Max leads head-to-head 4-3 right now in like the head-to-head. That one race being where he crashed out. And Perez ended up winning in Baku. So where do you see this going now? Who do you think takes the edge here? Do you think like Lewis ties it up head-to-head, or do you think Max extends his lead a little more in the Drivers' Championship?
Still a lot to talk about. Still a lot to discuss, but all we all know is Mercedes has been upgrading their performance, so their engine. So hopefully there'll be some more closer competition. I mean, it's already been a really close competition. And looking at FP2, it seems it's going back to your favorite Hambodvo, whatever you want to talk about it. But hopefully it's just going to be like typical race week in the last few years when Ferrari or Max Verstappen would be like leading the free practice and then go to qualifying and it's like show like different pace. But overall, I think it's getting even closer than ever, and it's gonna be more exciting. But probably it's going to be like the top battle. So it's going to be the four of them fighting each other. Hopefully Perez can catch up. But I think it's going to be like a close four people battle. And then there'll be like the entire midfield behind it. Which is exciting. I'm just kind of wish there would be like at least like one more team could fight for that top role. But I think Mercedes is trying to bring the A game after what happened in the last Grand Prix. We'll see how it goes.
No, I would agree with you. I think like Mercedes is bringing the A game and bringing their A game as well as Lewis Hamilton, because when you think about it, like they've now gone 4 straight races without a win. That's the first time they've ever done that since like 2013 in the whole entire the turbo hybrid area, like when it started in 2014. So when you look at that, Mercedes like, okay, we clearly like are out of our game. Like Red Bull's just got something like up their sleeve. They're just showing a lot of pace. And again, like we saw, it was really when it started in France when Max Verstappen had beat Lewis Hamilton there, along with Sergio Perez beating Bottas. That's when I think the whole domino kind of fell, because they realized, okay, we can beat them outside of street circuits. We can beat them at France, which usually is like a Mercedes heavily dominated track. Now, again, they're at the Red Bull ring. Red Bull usually doesn't do particularly well there, really, honestly, in the past few years. It was like their first pole position they got last week. Ever, I'm pretty sure, ever in history. So that's something that's a little bit more surprising as well. But when you look at this Max versus Lewis, this battle and stuff, it's been great to see. It's been great for the sport. It's been super intense. And I think really what this is doing is with Max Verstappen stepping up, this is proving how good Lewis Hamilton is, because Lewis Hamilton for like the longest time, for like the casual fans of like, oh, it's just the car. Okay, now Max Verstappen has a competitive car, and Lewis Hamilton is still able to beat him. Obviously, the past few number of races haven't been really the same since like the early on the first 2 races when Lewis had won and stuff, the first 2. So when you look at that, then that's really the difference. But regardless, Lewis Hamilton is still looking better as ever, and I think he's going to bring his A game this weekend as he always does.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, look at the clip when he almost like lost it in the Austrian Grand Prix when he's going to the gravel. It's like that's like years of experience to get you away from that kind of situation. And I think like they're always on the A game. I think Mercedes has been sacking off in the last few races, and then they've been really on the top game in the last few races too. And it's still not even halfway there yet. So still a lot of fights for, and yeah, it's gonna be like a very awesome road to the 8th champion world title, or it's gonna be like like Schumacher and Alonso,
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well with this battle between Mercedes versus Mercedes versus Red Bull, we can just see it's just become so much more exciting for the sport and stuff, not just having Mercedes dominating, and to actually see a proper title fight, all the way down. Hopefully we see it all the way down to Yas Marina, because Yas Marina is making changes, which should make for an exciting finale. Because if we go into the final race and the championship is still up for grabs, regardless of like constructors and drivers, that would just make it the season completely much better, which would be awesome to see.
Yeah.
But let's move on to some qualifying predictions. Who do you have putting on pole position, and how is the rest of the grid going to shape up?
Ooh. Looking at last few years, I would say, I really want to say Max Verstappen. He's been really solid in the last few qualifying session, and this is also, again, this is still his home race ish. I mean, he has like 2 home races now. He has like the Austrian Grand Prix and the Netherlands.
The Dutch Grand Prix.
The Dutch Grand Prix.
At Zandvoort,
Yeah, at Zandvoort, yeah. And then, but so I think Max Verstappen could be on pole, but also Lewis Hamilton. I think it's just really close. But I'll say, let's say Max Hamilton. His performance has been solid in the last few weeks, and we're probably going to see that patterns in the next few races. But and then
Okay. Yeah, I would. I'm going to say Verstappen as well as going to be put in pole position. And again, this is us not being biased Red Bull fans, even though we are being really honest. he's ran the Raptors jersey. We're good now. But I would definitely agree with you. I think Lewis Hamilton, again, we don't know, like he in FP2, he was the top of the sheets and stuff. As we saw, he put in the fastest lap. And again, it is FP2, but practice does show pace in terms of because in the practice sessions, they do run race simulations to show the race pace. Like they test their race pace in there. So we might see the fastest lap will be like, okay, this is what we're expecting on Sunday. And if Mercedes are at the top, then maybe they have made some upgrades or they're just running better than Red Bull. Again, it's different every weekend. It's based on track conditions, how the weather was, how the track's feeling, how the tires are and stuff, which will be all about it. So yeah, in my mind, I'm going to say Max Verstappen is going to take pole position. I have Lewis Hamilton going to be he's going to finish second, and then I think Sergio Perez is going to round out the podium in third. So that's kind of my prediction. I think Checo's going to stick up there over Valtteri Bottas, and I think that's really an interesting battle that's kind of been pushed on. Again, pushed under the rug, but I think the battle between the second drivers between Mercedes and Red Bull has been quite exciting between Bottas and Perez because they're kind of just like, Hamilton and Verstappen are fighting the front, like the front, but Perez and Bottas have done, an equal amount of job, just kind of like helping out their teammates and stuff. So I think, and we saw that last week with Bottas holding off Perez and stuff, which helped out Mercedes in terms of like total scoring points, which was good to see. But yeah, it'll be exciting qualifying session to see what happens. But I also, for the rest of the grid, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe an Aston Martin high up on the grid because we saw in FP2, Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel were finishing up with a 4th and 5th on the time charts. So, and again, it is practice and stuff, but pace does show something. And when you can get around the track, in 4th or 5th, like finishing on the time sheets and like that, it is good to see and exciting to see as well. So I think there'll be 2 cars to look out for sure. Those 2.
And also like McLaren's also really good at straight line.
McLaren's looking strong.
Looking strong, but also like this is like their kind of home territory. Like I think Monza is probably their home territory with DeLong or a lot of straights. But I think Pierre Gasly could be potentially too because he's been on fire in qualifying. He had a terrible race Sunday last week. But
it was quite unfortunate for Pierre Gasly. Yeah. I think he's another person where you just got to watch out for, and you can't you can't just not think about him or not put him into consideration for qualifying and stuff or qualifying at a high position because really he has shown a great maturity and stuff in the racing since obviously leaving Red Bull and going since getting released from Red Bull, dropping down to AlphaTauri. And I think that probably it's been discussed and stuff of where he's going to end up. And I think he's going to be one of those drivers where he's going to be hot in the market and stuff. And a lot of teams are going to want him if he continues to perform well in the AlphaTauri this year. So yes, indeed. All right, let's move on to our race predictions. I'm going to start. I'm thinking for Sunday, again, depends on how qualifying goes because I think strategy is really important still in a track like this. That, again, there are lots of overtaking opportunities, and we saw that on Sunday, but I still think that strategy is key. So I think Red Bull is going to continue the chain. I think Red Bull is going to finish on top with Max Verstappen. I think Hamilton's going to finish second. And I think I want to say I don't want to throw just Sergio Perez in there because then it's like qualifying is the same. Then it's just a boring race. I'm going to throw like Lando Norris up in there. I don't know. I think Lando Norris, he had a great Austrian Grand Prix last lap Lando we could see a great performance because we never know how qualifying is going to go. Like if we were doing this when after qualifying had happened and stuff, and like we looked at the qualifying results, like yeah, this is how the race is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So until then, it's really hard to tell. But those are my predictions based on that. So we got Verstappen, Hamilton, and Lando Norris for the top three.
Oh, cool. I mean, my prediction would be so at the start of the race, Lewis Hamilton will go to the pit and crash into Alex Albon, and that's going to happen. But I think, but I think it's going to be. I think I'm going to go. I'm feeling a bit Mercedes, unfortunately, this week. They've been up to the game, and if they put the words in their mouth, I think Lewis Hamilton could get the win this time. But Verstappen close behind, and another close battle between Bottas and Perez. If you see the look at Austrian Grand Prix, and if Austrian Grand Prix, it's going to be as boring as Austrian Grand Prix. Not boring, but like just as Austrian Grand Prix. Then it's gonna be interesting to see that, just for them fighting each other. McLaren, looking at this is just my prediction from Austrian Grand Prix, because Lando Norris started third, and he couldn't keep up with like the four top cars trying to chase him down with the IS open. So unless there's some kind of like miracle is going to happen, like I don't know, like Lewis crashed with Alex Albon out of nowhere, then maybe we can have like a fun like we can have like some interesting people into the podium. It's always like that in the last few years. Like if Lewis Hamilton screw up something, or Mercedes screw up something, or even like a top team screw up something,
or Max Verstappen crashes out, and then Lewis Hamilton also has a mistake, and then it's only like we saw with the Italian Grand Prix in 2020, where Pierre Gasly won, Carlos Sainz got second, and
I think it's just every race that it's not. I think every race going to be, the result will be interesting if two of them screw up. So because we already have like fresh new position for that, and I want to see that, and I think so. Your typical Ham-Verbot for me, but I want to see the midfield battle. Probably going to be interesting because Lance Stroll has been really show it, and I just hope that he'll get a podium this year, because he didn't get one this year yet because he's been so unlucky with like everything. So I want to see that, and probably the midfield battle is gonna be more fun, I guess. Hopefully we'll get a cool top battle, but midfield battle has always been like exciting. But it's been like kind of like
the midfield battle always provides great racing stuff in the past few years and stuff. With the top teams always mainly dominate, which is Mercedes. But this year's a little bit different. But now it's like the tables have turned now, where Red Bull has dominated the last 4 races. So it's like, honestly, even though I'm a Red Bull fan, I wouldn't mind if Lewis Hamilton won the race just to make it more of an exciting season. Because like I'm being serious, like if Max Verstappen just continues to win, it's like, darn it. It's going to be like, I think fans should realize the double standard, where it's like, okay, because people always get mad and stuff that like Hamilton and Mercedes were dominating. Well, now Red Bull have won 4 races in a row, 3 with Max Verstappen, 1 with Sergio Perez, which is great to see, obviously. But again, they have taken a major lead in the Constructors' Championship. When you look at that in total aspect of it, it's like, I think it's 215 to 178 and stuff. So it's a pretty big lead, or it might be a little bit higher than like that. So I'm pretty sure that's where the standings are right now. When you look at that, it's like, that's not, I mean, like, it's not close enough to where we were, where it was like a 1-point gap and stuff between the two teams just a couple races ago. And it was only like 12 points, or like, I think the gap between Max and Lewis is still very close, because Lewis is still finishing high up in the points and stuff. And also, so he's pretty much, the only difference is like just the gap that it is right now. But it would be exciting to see, just to get a little bit closer in terms of the championship lead and stuff. But I think as well that even if Lewis wins on Sunday, and Max Verstappen comes home second, and I still think Max Verstappen would be leading. But again, it would be a bit of a tighter gap between the two, which is what we want to see. We just want to see a tight championship all the way down to the end, where it's like in the last race, it's like, that's what we want to see, because that's just what we want.
I mean, we want to see rains, tie failures, weird crashes. Not Lewis Hamilton on the podium.
It's pretty much like an F1 wish list for most F1 fans and stuff. I think
it's gonna feel like I had a feeling it's like a better version of the 2005 season when Ferrari was just out of the competition, and Renault was becoming like the top team for 2 years in a row. And it's been like an interesting race between other drivers too. Something like that. I think it's like. And I think like it's like, like I would love to see some more closer championship and some more domination. and it's just like every sports ever. So like even like the Sun, and I'm just hoping for the Sun to off in the finals. Oh, but it's kind of like that. But yeah, it's been an exciting season with all the close races. The race is supposed to be interesting. Is not as interesting as I thought, and the race is supposed to be boring. Is getting a bit slightly better. So we'll see how it's going to turn out. But overall, I think the Australian Grand Prix is probably going to be delivered more than the Syrian Grand Prix.
Again, it's like it all depends on what you like in a Grand Prix, because some people might like their favorite driver dominating and just winning the race, but other people are like, I'd like to see some close racing. Even though I'm a Max Verstappen fan, I still like to see close racing with Lewis Hamilton, because then it's like, okay, then he can prove that, okay, he can beat Lewis Hamilton in a close situation, or Lewis Hamilton is proving how good he really is because he's able to have tough competition from Max Verstappen in a competitive car, who's actually then still beating him because he's just a better driver, and it's not just the car. Because the whole argument of it's just the car is just absolutely absurd. It's like, no, that's okay. If it's just the car, then why isn't Valtteri Bottas winning races?
Exactly.
Like that's what I'm saying. So, anyways, enough of that. But let's move on to one final thing. Let's move into our 3-word race prediction. If you could kind of, I think we gave our general race predictions, but if you just predict something like 3 words to predict the race and stuff, anything to. Other than Hamburg bot, but it might be that.
Last lap Lando.
Last lap Lando.
Yeah. I'm hoping for some scenario 8, scenario 7, Yeah, what's yours?
Might say my 3-word race prediction is actually going to be a bit of a bold one. I'm going to say Ferrari bounces back, because Ferrari bounced back in terms of FP1. They actually had some decent times. And I think if Ferrari can get it together a little bit, have a good qualifying session, and they should have a good chance in the race. But again, we've seen before where it's like they have a great qualifying, but then their race pace just isn't there compared to other teams.
Exactly.
So, and I think that's really the biggest problem with Ferrari right now is their lack of race pace, which is the biggest thing that a team can have. If you can be great all you want in qualifying, you can get pole position, but if you can't put pedal to the metal down for 50 plus laps or 71 laps and stuff, for the Austrian Grand Prix, then you're not going to be, because it's a 71 lap race. So that's a long time. The circuit is very short and stuff, but regardless, that is a lot of laps around the circuit. And with that in mind and stuff, you have to have the consistent race pace and just general pace as well to beat a Mercedes and a Red Bull, who are both looking very strong. So bit of a bold one, but I'd say Ferrari bounces back. I think they'll just finish better than McLaren. I think that's what it is. They'll just finish better than McLaren. They're not going to finish high up there. But if they can get 5th and 6th or 4th or 5th or something, that would be really good to see.
Oh, I also have 3 more words. Happy birthday, Ricardo.
Happy birthday, Ricardo. Yeah, it's Daniel Ricciardo's birthday.
Yeah.
I think he's 31 or something like that. So 32.
I think so. He's 32 now.
He's 32. Yeah. So but
hopefully he's get a good race. So,
yes, indeed. Yeah. Best wishes to Daniel Ricciardo. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out theintermissionsports.com for more content. We'll be back next week sometime with our post-race, or Sunday, actually. You can check out Sunday afternoon post-race show for the Austrian Grand Prix. Hopefully we have lots to talk about. I'm sure we will. There's always lots to talk about in F1 after a race. Otherwise, enjoy your weekend. Peace out.